Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. It is what it is. And in France, Paris, the Super Falcons are 3 goals down. It is the second half of that game. After the two losses in that group, it was looking as if we were going to get something out of the game against the Nagasaki of Japan. But as it stands right now, we are 3 goals down. Let's see if what happened between Zambia and Australia will repeat itself in this game if the Super Falcons can actually come back. Chegini giving us a lifeline in the first half of that game. But before the end of that first half, a free kick gave them the third goal against the Super Falcons of Nigeria. And you have the opportunity to call in on the show, react to that game. Nigeria is losing to Japan 3-1 as we speak. The second half of that game, after now, we were thinking we could just have a chance of going through to the next round, that is to the quarterfinals of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, conceding 3 goals down with just one right now. It's not looking good at all for the years there and for the 200 million plus Nigeria. Japan react to that match 3-1 down as we speak while we expect your call. This is another game for the Super Falcons. The last time we had a win in the Olympics was against Japan. That was 20 years ago where we actually qualified, and now this time around reverse is the case against Nigeria. We don't know if that football miracle will happen for Super Falcons and just turn this game around and get something out of it, get a draw or possibly a win. I know the spirit of the girls are dampened as we speak because they are 2 goals down. They just need to cancel out those 2 goals if they really want to take something positive out of this game. We've played 10 Olympic games. We've lost 9. This is the 11th one, and this is the 10th loss for us. If it ends this way, just winning one game out of the Olympic number of games we've played in the Olympics. I have Friday Joshua joining me on the show this evening. Friday Joshua, welcome to Sports Update on Trust TV. Okay, while we await your calls, the number is on the screen. Call that number and you reach us live in the studio. Super Falcons won the Japanese team 3 as we speak from France. Okay, while we expect, Friday Joshua, it's not a good news at all for us. 3-1 down, second half of that game. We thought we could get something out of this game. As it stands, except a miracle happened, we saw Australia turning the tides against the Coppers Queens of Zambia, same in this Olympics in their match day 2.
Yes, good evening, Pash. We are on the show once again. How to go to here because I think about summer.
Okay, why will please the audio from your end? We just work on that so that we can hear you clearly. Let's just keep talking about the Olympics while we expect your call. The number is on the screen. Reach us in the studio and let's hear your thought. Super Falcons are losing in this game against Japan. What is your take? We thought we could qualify for the quarterfinals, but now that the quarterfinal ticket is out of our hands, except a miracle happens. That is when the Super Falcons would play in the quarterfinals of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. After about 2 decades, the last time was in 2008 when we played at the Olympics. Since then, we've not actually played. In Olympics, but this time around we are there, but not doing well in that group. All right, let's look at this particular story while we expect your call. Nigeria, Japan. While we expect your call as we speak, the number is on the screen. Sorry about that. It's not Brazil. We are playing Japan, not Brazil. Let's look at this other story. Let's go over to the next story. Okpeyori faces China's Li Xinfeng in the second game of badminton. He lost his first game to Coenzi of Switzerland 2-0 in his first game yesterday evening, and tonight precisely by 7:30 p.m. Nigerian time, we will be seeing Anulu Akpokpeyori in playing his second game against world number 5 when it comes to badminton. So we will be seeing Anulu Akpo playing Li Xinfeng in his second game, and he needs all the win in this particular game to see if he will progress to the next round, because Li Xinfeng already defeated Coenzi in his own first game, and if he wins this game, he was going to have 6 points and he will move over to the next round of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games badminton event. For Anolu Akpokpeyori, he is African number 1, Nigerian number 1 player when it comes to badminton, African champion, multiple champion on the continent of Africa, but at the world stage, he still needs to get it right. He still needs to be there. But for tonight's game, well, on paper, Li Xinfeng stand a chance of beating Anolu Akpokpeyori. But in sports, anything can happen. Just the way you see in football, anything can happen in football. It can also happen for Anolu Akpokpeyori in tonight's game. So let's see what Anolu Akpokpeyori can do. All right, Friday, Joshua, Super Falcons are losing 3-1 against Japan.
Yes, it's actually the third order for the Super Falcons of Nigeria, even before the kickoff, having lost 2 games, and they are sitting bottom of 0 point.
We can really get to hear you, Friday, Joshua. We can just work on that audio. If you can work on your audio, then we can hear you live from there. Okay, let's talking about Anolu Akpokpeyori. That game will be coming up tonight between Anolu Akpokpeyori and Li Xinfeng in badminton. We wish him well in that game. And let's go to the big news. We talked about it on the morning show, athletics now, where Favour Philly was omitted from the 100 meters event. This is actually causing a very big issue in Team Nigerian's camp, where Favour Philly was not registered for the 100 meters event. In the athletics event, we know that athletics is built to start start tomorrow, but every event for athletics will probably start on the 2nd of August, right there in Paris, France. And this is where our hope lies when it comes to the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, because we are actually looking at getting a medal from the track event. So for Favour Philly, she was not registered, and the ministry has waded into this case for us to due to negligence. All right, Friday, Joshua, we're talking about Super Falcons are losing already 3-1, and for Favour Philly, her name was omitted for the 100 meters event.
Yes, for the Super Falcons in the first place, even without kicking a ball, it was actually a tall order for the Super Falcons of Nigeria to get all 3 points against London 2012 silver medalists. And having seated bottom of the group with no points after 2 games played, where you have Spain already picked the first ticket in that group, and you have Brazil, Japan to contend with, and these guys already have 3 points, which you don't expect the Japanese side to actually take it lightly with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Now, if you look at the first 2 games played, we find it difficult to actually convert our chances, and that is one area where these Japanese sides are actually better than us, and they will not leave anything to chance where they put themselves in the precarious situation where we've actually found ourselves. So what it means at the moment, it is almost done and dusted for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. They should just play the remainder of the 90 minutes, except, like you said, a miracle happens at the end of the day. We may qualify through. It's also a difficult one for us, even if we win against Japan. Having considered such number of goals, it is almost impossible for us. Now, talking about Favour Philly, who was actually not registered for the women's 100 meters event. Now, the question is, where is this mistake coming from? At the end of the day, who is going to be held responsible. This morning we woke up to the news where she posted on her X handle that her name was not entered for the Women's 100 event. Mind you, Favour Philly is actually one of our medal prospects in any event that she's going to be taking part in. And later this afternoon, I think about 3 p.m., I saw a breaking news where the AFN posted a document where they entered the name of Favour Philly. And that document was signed by the technical director of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, talking about Samuel Onikeku, where Favour Philly's name was tagged alongside 100 meters, 200 meters, 4x100 meters. That means from the angle of the AFN, they actually did their job, but we are yet to hear from the Nigeria Olympic Committee, because that document was submitted by the AFN to the Nigeria Olympic Committee. So if her name is missing from the registered athletes that will take part in the women's 100 meters event, then the NOC should come out to tell us what transpired. And if we still have ample time before track and field take off, then the NOC, in conjunction of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, should wade in immediately, as failure to do so to get Favour Philly registered for the women's 100 meters event is tantamount to -1 medal for Team Nigeria, because Favour Philly is a guaranteed medal prospect for Nigeria. If she doesn't get gold, she's definitely going to get silver or bronze. So omitting her from that kind of event is a minus for Nigeria. Now, this is what comes to play when we don't put square pegs in square hole. You know, at the end of the day, after this Olympics, we should see heads rolling for this kind of costly mistake. You don't get to see something like this happen in other spheres of the world. Look at what happened to the Canadian national women's team, where the head coach, through an unaccredited match analyst, sent a drone to the camp of their opponents. You could see that almost immediately that coach was asked to step down. The match analyst was sent packing to Canada. You see, all with immediate effect, we begin to see the repercussion of such actions. So at the end of the day, if we don't get to see heads roll for this costly mistake against Favour Philly, then that means we as Nigeria, from the ministry, from the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, we are not doing our job. Because you recall that immediately she made that post, almost immediately, there was a follow-up post where she said, because of the failure of AFN, NADC, and one other body to provide funds for athletes at the last Olympics, that is Tokyo 2020, 14 athletes couldn't take part in athletics. So that means over time, this has become a recurrent event. So we need to do better. See, I remember in the days of, I've forgotten the name of this minister, about 2-3 of them where we went to the Olympics and everything was done smoothly without little or no glitches. But these days, what you see, one Olympics or the other, there's always a big negative story coming from the camp of Team Nigeria, which is not sellable.
Which is not actually sellable. We are not going to sit down and allow this to go under the waters. We just have to at least somebody. Okay, hello, your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Hello, your name and where you are calling us from. Quickly. Go ahead, I can hear you. Bring down the volume of your TV set. Then we can hear us clearly. Okay, please, if you are calling on the show, Nigeria and Japan. Nigeria is losing 3-1 and Spain is ahead against Brazil. Is 1-0 in favor of the La Rojas women in their own last game, Group C game in the Paris women's football event. Spain is leading. That means if it ends that way, they will qualify with maximum 9 points from the group, while Japan go through alongside Japan and Spain will qualify into the quarterfinals. Probably, maybe, just maybe, Brazil will qualify as one of the best losers, because that is where the Super Falcons are also looking at. Super Falcons is losing 3-1. It is Japan, Nigeria versus Japan women at the Paris 2024 Olympic event. For Favour Philly, it's not a good one. This issue have to be investigated and then get to the root of this bottom. Some persons just neglected their duty, and an athlete who has who has prepared for this particular game for 4 years, at the end of the day, somebody's negligence is going to deprive her of all the hard work and everything she has put in to be at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. But let's see how that goes. The sports ministry is also involved in the case as we speak. They are looking for at least to find what really happened, and if nothing happens and Favour Philly does not at least participate in the 100 meters women's event, that's a very big blow. All right, moving ahead, we're still looking at Nigerian stories. Quickly, let's take this one coming in from the camp of the Falcons, where they intensify their training. They actually walloped a team in the FCT, Honey Badger's female team, in one of the friendly games they played just this morning. And they have, okay, Friday for Falcons, they are preparing for the Under-20 Women's World Cup.
Yes, under Christopher Danjuma, the Falcons have been doing relatively well, but this time around, I want to see how they can get better results at the World Cup, and no wonder this kind of preparations ahead of that a big tournament at the Under-20 level. And now what it means is that Coach Danjuma at this juncture should be able to spot his players and know the best choice of players to take from the camp to the competition proper. A good win against Honey Badgers FC. Honey Badgers are actually a team from Benue State who are actually doing very well in their own right. So for this crop of Falcons to actually get the better of them, that means Christopher Danjuma has actually selected some of the best girls from women's football in the country. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see when the competition starts proper. We trust in the ability of Christopher Danjuma. We just hope at the end of the day they are able to give us something to cheer about.
They're able to give us something to cheer about. The game is still 3-1 against Super Falcons, and Spain is leading Brazil in that game. In the first half of that game, towards the end, we saw Mata, the legendary Mata, getting a red card. That is a dent on her career because this is the last Olympic for Mata as we speak, but she was red carded in that game, and it is what it is. They are losing 1-0. All right, moving ahead, let's quickly look at this story. It concerns the Super Eagles player Terry Murphy suffered a long-term injury. One fantastic player who plays for Udinese in the French Ligue 1. I think at this point in time, these are not the kind of news we should be hearing for Super Eagles player, where we are still struggling. We still have the World Cup qualifiers to play. We still have the AFCON qualifiers to play. And we need all hands on deck. We need all our players to be fit for this particular event.
Yes, it's actually a sad news for we Nigerian fans. It's even more sad for his club side. The season is just about less than 3 weeks to go, and one of the prolific strikers is having 6 to 9 months injury. That you just count him out of the season already. So it's a big blow for his club side and also for himself. You know, no player wants to start the season like this, and this is not even about starting the season like this. What it means is that for the first half of the season, you will not be in action. So it's actually a terrible one. You know, when you suffer such kind of injury, in some cases, you may not recover to your full self at the end of the day, and we may not get to see the best of you anymore. But I hope that he sees the positive side of this. As in every situation in life, there's always two sides, the negative and the positive. I hope he's able to hold on to the positive side and work towards his recovery. And eventually, when he bounces back, we hope to see him in his rightful place and even better than we used to see him display on the field of play.
Okay, better. We wish him quick recovery. That's Terry Murphy to bounce back and do better for the Super Eagles and his club in France. All right, moving ahead, it has been on the news, always on the news. Victor Osimhen's agent actually denies Chelsea loan move. Now, we heard Chelsea also enter into the race for Victor Osimhen, but his agent has come out to deny that yes, nothing of such is going on between Chelsea and Victor Osimhen.
Well, I just hope Victor Osimhen, before the beginning of the season or before the transfer window closes, is able to find his way out of Napoli, as staying at Napoli is not going to look good for him at the moment. Let's consider what happened the previous season. Before the start of the previous season, he had some kind of issues with the club, and we could see how that affected his style of play, how that affected his output. We couldn't see what we had 2 years ago. And, furthermore, up until now, it's as if the situation with the club is getting messier. Antonio Conte has told this young man that you are not part of my first choice plan for the next season. So what that means for the reigning African Footballer of the Year, you cannot be the reigning African Footballer of the Year and you are coming in from the bench. That may actually bring you, even your form, may bring your form down. So for Victor Osimhen and his agents, whatever it is that they need to settle out, they should settle it on time. If Chelsea is coming for you at the moment for loan, my brother, for what has happened over this holiday period, I think that loan move is actually a wise idea, because there's no way Victor Osimhen will go to Chelsea and become a second fiddle. Even if he becomes a second fiddle in the beginning, by the time he plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches, and they begin to see what he can actually offer, he will definitely get on the first 11. But staying at Napoli to become a second choice striker in Napoli is not a good idea for this Nigeria international. So for his agent and Osimhen, of course, they're actually forcing the move out of Napoli, and PSG actually interested. Now, the number of teams interested in Napoli compared to the beginning has actually reduced drastically. After that outburst with Finidi George, Manchester United has actually backed down. Arsenal are looking are most likely not interested. Then there is a Chelsea who is talking about a loan move, and the agent is coming out to deny it. And I know this is because, of course, for a player of his caliber, a loan move is not what we should be talking about. Yes, but of course, let's know that the PR is standing at -50 at the moment. So I think any offer to get him out of Napoli at the moment, for me, is a best option. Then he will go over there and rebuild whatever image he has to rebuild.
Okay, all right, let's move ahead and quickly say the last transfers on the show. Monza. Keen on Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, that is Keylor Navas. He has Keylor Navas. He has won Champions League, La Liga, what have you, with Real Madrid. And the last one, let's just quickly have the fixtures of the football event. But 2 games are ongoing. That's the Olympic Women's Football event. New Zealand against France later. Colombia, Canada in Group B. Zambia, Germany versus Australia. And then, as we speak, Japan and Nigeria are playing Brazil, Spain. And that game, for Spain, they are leading the Brazilian women's team 1-0, and Nigeria is losing 3-1 to Japan. Thank you, Friday Joshua, for joining up on the show. It's good having you on Sports Update.
Always my pleasure.
All right, that is it on the program. I am Emmanuel Fashemi. Say thanks for watching.